Hi everyone, my name is Victor and I am one of the authors of TechNeed. In today's lesson, I will show you one of the ways to secure a Linux system by locking a user account for some minutes after many times of failed login attempts, depending on the number of times you want to set though. This is one of the security measures you might want to put in place as an administrator, and in one of my videos, I also talked about and demonstrated how we can secure a Linux system, especially SSH, in various ways. If you are really concerned about securing your system, it might be good if you check out the video as well. And I'll be dropping the link to that video in the description box below. So let's get back to this business. To be able to lock a user account and keep a track of failed login attempts, we can make use of PAM, meaning Pluggable Authentication Module. And this module is basically used for authentication. It could control authentication to applications, services, or systems. And it has good security features. There are a couple of PAM we can use to lock user accounts. We have the PAM Tally, we have the PAM Tally 2, we have the PAM Lock, and there are also other types of Linux PAM. PAM Tally and PAM Tally 2 were majorly used in old versions of Linux systems and now has been replaced with PAM Lock in newer versions of Linux systems, especially in distributions like RHEL 7, RHEL 8, CentOS 7.8, RHEL 9, and the likes. If you still wish to use PAM Tally 2, you can, but I'll recommend you use Pamphilog, especially for newer versions of Linux operating system because it is more flexible and has more options. So in this lesson, we're going to be using the Pamphilog module. The Pamphilog module controls authentication of users for services such as login, SSH, SU, cron, AT, cockpit, and etc., which we can see in the PAM configuration directory. And the PAM configuration directory is in the location etc pam pam.d. So if I do ls, we can see different configuration files for different services. You can see for ATD, you can see for login, you can see for SSHD. So let's cut one of these files. So let me cut system auth file. You can see various parameters in this file, or rather syntax, and you might begin to wonder that what is all of this. So let's break this down to understand this better. A PAM configuration file contains the following syntax, which is type, we have the control flag, and we have the PAM module. And in some cases, you can have module options or arguments. So for example, if you look at this line, this is the type, we have the control flag, and we have the PAM module, and we have some arguments after the PAM module. So let's go back to the whiteboard section to explain this further. For type, type is the module interface with a specific service type. And there are 4 PAM service type, which are account, auth, password, and session. So what is account? Account is a PAM service type that manages account validation. That is, verifies a user account and validate that the user account is still active and not expired and can be allowed to log in. So for auth is a PAM service type that manages authentication services for accounts. That is, it requests and validates that a user account password is correct. Another one is the password. So the password is a PAM service type that manages user account passwords. That is, it enforces password policies. And the fourth one is the session. And the session is a PAM service type that manages users' account session. The second syntax is the control flag. The control flag states the role a PAM module plays in determining access to the service. So the control flags includes binding, include, optional, required, requisite, sufficient, and substack. To understand their effect, we can look at this Oracle documentation link. I'll also be dropping the link to this documentation in the description box below. If you scroll down and look at this, I'm just going to briefly talk about this required, which says that a final success for the service is returned only if no binding or required modules have reported failures. So you can look at the other syntax or parameters here. Moving on to the third syntax, which is the PAM module. The PAM module is the PAM module file name that will be responsible for the work. And the module options are, like I said, they are arguments or other options that can be added to the PAM module. Having understood this, let's see the step-by-step guide of how to lock user accounts in Linux after some number of failed login attempts using the PAM faillock module. So the first thing we need to do is to verify if faillock is loaded by PAM so that we won't get ourselves locked out. And to do that, we can simply use the RPM command. So I can query and list for PAM. I'm going to just grep for faillock. So here you can see that PAM RPM includes the PAM faillock.so module, which is this, which is the module itself, and it also includes the faillock binary command, which is this as well. When it comes to implementing PAM faillock with failed login attempts, there are two important configuration files that needs to be changed, and those files are the etc pam.d system auth and etc pam.d password auth. So if you go to the pam.d directory again, so if I go here and say pam.d, if I do ls, you can see that we have a couple of files here, but the important file we're looking at are this one, which is the system auth file, and the second one is this one, which is the password auth file. These configuration files can be edited manually, which is not recommended. It can also be edited automatically, which is the recommended way of doing it. And to edit these files automatically, we need to use the auth select tool or the auth config tool. Let's even see how these files look like. So if I cut system auth file, you can see how these files look like. And if I also cut the password auth file, you can see how these files look like. And you might, in your own Linux distribution, depending on your own distribution, you might see slight changes. I'm currently using a RHEL 8 system, so it's also a good practice to always back up these two files before you do anything to them. I mean, even in any operating system, especially Linux, it is always a good practice to always back up important files. So what we're going to do is to back up these files. So to do that, I can just say copy system auth to, I can just say system auth underscore backup. I'm also going to do this for password auth as well. So here I'm just going to say password auth. All right. So there are methods, like I said, you can either edit these files manually or you can do this automatically. So let us look at method one, in which we're going to edit these files manually. Like I've said, this method is not recommended, but I just need to show it to you so that you can really understand what we're doing. So to edit these files manually, there are some syntax or parameters which we must include. So let's start with the system auth file. So if I say vi system auth file, so I'm just going to come to this third line here. Let's come here and I say insert. So I'm just going to add, no, it should be here. It should be the third line. So I'm just going to say auth required. Then this is going to be palm underscore fill lock dot so, which is the module. Then some arguments, I can say silent deny equals 3, unlock underscore timeout equals 600. So I'm saying that after 3 times of failed login attempt, which we have here, which is deny, then lock out this user account or any user account for 600 seconds, which is 10 minutes. So I'm also going to add the parameter here as well. This should be here. This should be here. So I'm just going to say auth required. So this is going to be palm underscore fill lock dot so. Oops. Fill lock dot so auth fill auth fill. So this should be pre-auth. So this should be pre-auth. You can see why it's not recommended to edit this file manually. So this is going to be auth fill deny equals 3, unlock timeout equals 600. And I'm going to come here as well. I'm going to come here. This is account. So I'm just going to add another line here. So I'm going to say account required palm underscore fitlock dot so. So now I can save this file. So I'm also going to edit the same for password auth file. So I'm just going to come to the third line here. So I'm going to say, I'm going to put in the same parameter, which is auth required. So I'm just going to say palm underscore fill pre-auth silent deny equals 3 unlock underscore timeout equals 600. So I'm also going to come to this line here. So what I'm just going to copy this from the website and paste it, so it's going to be fast. And I'm going to be dropping the link to the website to this particular lesson in the description box below, so that you can always copy and paste too as well. So I'm just going to copy this and paste this here. So if I wish, I can just, arrange this. And the third line, which is going to be here, so I can paste, and put this here as well. So I can save this file now, and then we have this spam fill log configured. So let's do a test. So I have some users here, so I can say let me change user to Bola, for example. So from Bola, let me change user to Tayo, and I'm going to put in a wrong password. Okay, let me put in the right password for Tayo first, so you can see that I'm logged in as Tayo. So I'm going to put in the wrong password for Tayo 3 times. So this is the wrong one. So I'm just going to try a wrong 1 2 again, 2, and I'm going to try another wrong password. So I have tried wrong password 3 times, and now I'm going to try the right password for Tayo. So you can see that I cannot still log in as the user Tayo, because I've tried to log in as Tayo 3 times with a wrong password, and now I have to wait for 10 minutes before I can log in as the user Tayo again. And like I said, this is not a recommended practice, because you might make mistakes in editing the configuration file, and even apart from that, when there is an upgrade or an update, the configuration file might just you might see some things being written off, and that's why this method is not recommended. So we're going to check how to use another method, which is the recommended method. So in this method, we're going to be editing these two files by using the auth select tool. So what I'm going to do is to delete what I have added in this file. So if I do vi system auth, so I'm just going to go to the third line here and delete this. And I'm going to come here and delete this. I'm also going to delete this. So let's save this file. I'm also going to do the same thing for password auth. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this, and I'm also going to delete this, so I can save this file. So now let's use the recommended way of doing this. And when you're using the auth select tool, the auth select tool and the PAM must be updated to version 1.2, at most 1.2 or higher. So if I do RPM, if I query for auth select, so this is over 1.2, this is 1.2.5, which is okay. And if I also do for Palm, so Palm is also 1.3. So if you don't have these versions, if your own versions are lower than this, all you can just do is to do RPM, or you do rather DNF update Palm and auth select. So this is going to upgrade these packages to the latest, right? So I already have it updated to the latest. So let's see what I'm going to have here. So you can see that there is nothing to do because I already have it updated to the latest. So the next step we need to do is to enable the fail lock feature. And to enable the fail lock feature, you can use the command auth select enable features with fail lock. So you can see that the fail lock feature has been enabled. And if I check this configuration file, let's just check and you can see. So if I do cat system auth, you would see here that this has been automatically updated with the via the auth select. So you can see that we have this one here too as well. And that's why it's good you use auth select to do these settings. If I do for password auth as well, you can see that it has also been, automatically updated. So the next step we need to do is to configure faillock. And the options to configure faillock is stored in etcsecurityfaillock.conf. So if I go to cd, let's just go to cd etc faillock faillock etc security, sorry, security. The faillock.conf is the file. So we can see the file here. So what we're just going to do is to edit this file. Faillock.conf faillock etc security faillock.conf. Okay, so this is going to be vi. So we need to uncomment these three parameters, which is one, silent. So this has already been hashed out, which is fine. We also need to look for the deny parameter as well. So this has been hashed out, which is fine. And if I want it to be 4 or 5 times, I can, add as I wish accordingly. And if you also look for the unlock time too as well, so this is 600 seconds, which is 10 seconds. So this is fine. If you also want the settings to be applicable to the root user, you need to uncomment this session as well. But as it is right now, this settings is applied to every other users apart from the root users. So I'm just going to save this as well. And now we can test with our users. So again, I can do, let me do SU Bola this time around. And now if I do SU Tayo, so if I just put in the right password, okay, so it's not up to 10 minutes, and that's why I can't log in as Tayo yet. So I'll just log in as Tayo from as the root user. SU Tayo. So what I'm going to do is to log in as the Bola user. So let me put in the right password for Bola. So now I can exit. And now let's try Bola. So I'm going to put in the wrong password. I'm going to put in the wrong password again. And I'm also going to put in the wrong password again. So now let me try and put in the right password. So you can see that I cannot log in as the user Bola because I've logged in with the wrong password 3 times, and now I have to wait for another 10 minutes before I can log in as the user Bola. So to list the failed login counters, I can just use the command fail log. So you can see, and if I want to do that for a specific user, so I can just say fail log dash user, let's say Bola. So you can see the failed login counters for the user Bola. And if we can also check the varlog secure. So if I say till file slash var log secure. So if you look at this file critically, so we're looking for the pamphilog module. So I'm just going to check here. You can see that I have pamphilog module here. You can see consecutive login failures for user Bola account temporarily locked. So you can see, um, let's look for another pamphilog module. So I just have one here. So this is how you can also, check. And to unlock a user, if a user has been temporarily locked because of our settings, so to unlock the user, we can just use the command fill lock dash dash reset for the user. Let's say user Bola, and I can also say for user Tayo. And if I want to do for all the users, I don't need to specify the name of the user. I'll just say fail lock dash dash reset. So this is going to reset our settings. And if I do fail lock for the user Bola, you can see that I don't have any counters here anymore. And if I do fail lock for the user Tayo, you can see that I don't have any counters here anymore. And to disable fail lock with Alt Select, I can just use the command. Just the same way we enabled, we can just say Alt Select, disable, disable features with fail lock, and this features will be, or this feature rather, will be disabled. And if you want to learn more about Palm fail lock, you can just check the manual page, which is palm underscore fail lock, and you can also check the manual page for fail lock as well. So for the third method, which is the auth, by using the auth config tool, the auth config tool is actually duplicated and it's been replaced with the auth select tool, which we've just used. However, if you still want to know how to use the auth config tool, which you can still use, you can check the website. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to be dropping the link to the website in the description box below. All right, so this is where we use the third method, where we use the auth config tool. So you can just check the website if you wish to learn how to do this. Like I said, the auth select tool is fine. So, but if you want to learn how to do this, just check the website and you can see how we did this. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe to this channel, like, share, comment. When you do this, you encourage us to do more. And bye for now.